Hi, I'm Jessica.
And I'm Tracy.
And this is She's on Top, the place where we celebrate and elevate women.
And this is our series called The New Normal.
And today we are thrilled to have a returning guest, Miss Luna Dubois. Hi, Luna.
Hi, Luna.
Hi, hello. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Now, hopefully, if you haven't met Luna before, we do have another video where we talk about her background and a fashion student and how she got into drag. But this year, since it's our second year talking to you, right before Pride Parade, we wanted to talk to you this year. Yeah, how it's different with COVID, because last year it was outside, there was a parade, but you can't do that this year. So what's happening?
Well, most of the Pride shows have all been virtual. It's all been online, and it's been a lot of pre-recorded performances streamed online by people around the world in the country. And I actually had the pleasure to be a part of the Pride Toronto virtual shows. I'm actually going to be in another one again this weekend, so that's fun. So yeah, it's been a lot of digital stuff, just online, and it's not the same, but it's what we have to do.
Well, it's actually interesting because, we are now using Zoom, which we didn't use before. And it's allowed us to, connect with people all over the world. Do you find that because of this sort of way of virtually doing Pride, that you've been able to connect with more people?
I don't think so. Because a lot about doing drag is being out in person, seeing people, you're interacting with people. That's like a huge part of the job. You're not just like, now I'm just sitting at home, right? Like as I am right now. And this is the only thing I have to do today. And all this is gone. Usually I go through long hours of being in drag, like my makeup's getting bad, and it's not the same. And like I said, it would never be like the same as interacting. Like the most you get is when you see the comments in the virtual shows and people, typing the responses and reactions. That's all, but it's not the same as physical human connection.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? It's like, but I think it's amazing that everybody's adapting as best they can.
I know I've adapted to it quite well now, but I started adapting to it like maybe 2 weeks ago, and now things are starting to open like slowly. So I'm like, well, how do we go from here? But once the bars are open, I'm going to be more than excited to go back, because I can't do at home drag. It's not that fun,
Yeah, no, dancing around your apartment,
Right.
And not only have we been dealing with COVID, but obviously we've had Black Lives Matter, we've had that going on, and I've noticed you posting a lot of stuff on your Instagram posts. So how's that been affecting you and affecting your community here in Toronto?
Well, it's never been so impactful as it is today. And I feel the reason behind that is because we've all been at home, quarantined, glued to our devices, glued to our phones. So we're able to see these gruesome viral videos that are so heartbreaking, that are so like terrible and sad, of for example, George Floyd getting killed by that police officer. And on a regular day, most of us are at work, but we don't have time to be on social media. We miss the trending topics, and not everyone's aware, but now no one has an excuse. You're aware, you're at home, on your phone, on your iPad, or you have got your TV on, the news outlets everywhere. So it's like come to like a lot of people's attention that this is the crazy and sad world that we live in, and now for that reason, it feels like change will actually happen, slowly but surely.
I think we feel that way too. It's almost like over the last, Tracy and I keep hoping this is a permanent shift in consciousness, because it feels even like, last year we were talking about, I don't know if we were already talking about, Me Too at that point, and women and all, and now it's Black Lives Matter. And we were wondering, even as a drag queen, is there a difference between being a Black drag queen versus being a white drag queen?
Absolutely. Race is everywhere. It's like just the whole thing with race is going into every aspect of our lives, and it affects education, it affects us socially, employment-wise, like the list goes on. And there is racism everywhere, in the schools, clubs, workplace, you name it. And I even called out some racist things that have happened in the drag community, and trying to hold these people that have committed this unfair acts of racism towards people of color, especially Black people. So it's a time where we're trying to hold everyone accountable and implement change. And if change is not made, the goal is to get rid of who needs to be gotten rid of.
Absolutely. Have you been affected personally? Have you had experiences where you've been affected personally?
Yeah. I made some posts on Facebook that got a lot of attention, thankfully, and I addressed a lot of things that I've experienced personally with my experience in the village as a drag queen, and it was towards a certain bar owner, and called him out. I talked about everything, and the comments and me doing that allowed more people to speak up on their own experiences with the same individual. And, you know, it's nice to see that the whole community is now finally coming together to, you know, hold everyone who needs to be held accountable. And it's been something I've wanted to happen for so long. Like when the incident that happened with me and this individual happened, I spoke to so many people and tried to, you know, get like, you know, a group of people, like they say, there's strength in numbers, but no one wanted to do anything. Everyone was worried about their work and their gigs, and which is quite understandable. But now, no more like space or time for that. It's either you're with us or you're not.
You know, it's amazing because I think that the incredible distinction between not being racist versus anti-racist is huge, right? Like you have to sort of be active. And it sort of leads into my next question, because, you know, my best friend, Rosanna, brought something up. She is of mixed race background. And we were talking about this, and she was saying that she was sharing a specific incident again, where she'd been, you know, a victim of racism. And she said somebody did speak up. Somebody else, you know, who witnessed it, went to the other person and said, that's not okay. And she said it was huge for her. Like she said, that was such a big deal to have somebody else stand up. And so we wanted to ask that question as well. Have you had an incident where somebody's stood up and it's mattered, or have you not had that experience?
I've definitely had that experience, but like I said, the impact and influence it has now is so different and much deeper. That's why Black people are asking every white person, please use your privilege, please use your voice, because whether you like it or not, you are here when it comes to, you know, capitalism and, you know, the whole chain. And you could use that to benefit us, Black people, to be able to, you know, get to a point where we're all equal. You know, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, like give us the specific examples though of what people can do, because I think everybody's on a learning curve, you know, in terms of like we have a platform, and you know we've reached out to lots of people. We reached out to people. I mean, obviously we interviewed you a year ago. It's always been something we've been invested in, but you know we would love to hear any thoughts that you have, because there's lots of people listening.
Yeah, so like basically just like it's using, like you said, using your platform, using your voice, standing up to racism, and emailing your mayors or councilors to defund the police. There's so many ways to do it. There's links online that you just click on. It just gives you a whole template. You just have to insert your name and your email and whoever you're sending it to. And being kind to Black people. Like I want to say people of color, but like right now it's just focused on Black people. Be nice to Black people. Make them feel accepted, because all we've been asking for is equality and acceptance, like for so many years, over 400 years from the time of slavery. And, you know, changing how things are done in the workplace, and, you know, in terms of payment and who gets promoted and who gets what job. And there's just so many things that have to go into place. I can't really go into too much details, but like, I'll give you an example. Like in terms of employment, I personally struggle with my legal name when I apply for jobs. I have a very long name. It's obviously an African name. And I find when I use that name on my resume, I usually don't get callbacks. And as a boy, I go by Tom. And once I have that in my name, it's kind of okay, but I still also have a Muslim last name, which is Hassan. So when you have Thomas Hassan, it's like, where is this person from? You don't really know, but sometimes like I get callbacks and sometimes I don't, but I can definitely see the drastic difference as to when I use my full legal name and in terms of applying for employment. And that's one example in itself. And in the school systems, they need to be teaching more Black history because that is not taught enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And a lot of kids grow up not knowing anything about colonization, about slavery. And it's not their fault. This is a society that we live in. We have this structure that's been built for so many years that literally makes you blind to what like people of color go through.
It's so true, especially in Canada. I think there's an illusion in Canada that it's different here, but it's not. Sorry, Tracy.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing. You think it's just happening in the States, and it is happening here, and it is happening in Toronto, where we're from. So, you know, this conversation is so important. We thank you so much for talking to us. And maybe if you have some links to places where people can go, like you said, they can put their names down, a petition, or like if you send that information to us, we'll put it in the link to the YouTube video.
I can absolutely send that to you. Yeah, I can absolutely send it to you. There's also a link for, if you're from Toronto, there's a link that you just click. It takes you right into your mailbox. It's a fully typed email with all the emails that needs to go to the councillors, to the mayor, in terms of defunding the police. And that's honestly being helpful, and I feel like change will happen. Like I said, this whole movement has never been so impactful and like, you know, strong like the old times. But yeah, that's that for that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us, and maybe you'll come and talk with us again, and just keep doing what you're doing. You're fabulous.
Absolutely. You know, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's so great to do this with you guys. I wish we were filming in person in Food Drive because last year I was not.
I know. No,
it's COVID-19, but you know what? It's okay. I'm glad to always talk to you guys. I'd love to do this maybe again next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. COVID-free, hopefully.
Yes.
COVID-free. And Luna, and on a personal level, please send us any links to anything that you're doing where people can come see you, because we're getting out and about. So we would love to share that as well, because we think you're amazing.
Yeah, there's nothing for me out and about yet. It's just a few online shows. Tomorrow, I'm a piece that I did is going to be premiering on the CBC Gem for the Pride Cabaret.
I saw that in your newsfeed. Yes,
Yes, so that's happening tomorrow, and this weekend on Saturday, I have a pre-recorded performance for the Black Queer Collective on Pride Toronto, so that's going to be on Twitch. But I'll definitely be posting about those in my story, so anyone will be able to access information as to how they can view those shows.
Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to talking with you again soon. Thanks, Luna.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Have a wonderful
it's
Friday.
Brilliant.
Okay?
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.